Once we have all of our plan built out and people going in and making updates, we're going to want to have the ability to go in and see how we're actually progressing on all this stuff. So that's where our track section comes in. And that's the third tier here. Underneath the planner and workboard, I've got my track tab where I can see snapshots, dashboards, explore, and engagement. The Explore tab is a nice constellation view that shows you your overarching strategy and how you can see connection points, who owns what. It's really self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go through that much. The Engagement tab is a way, if you're an admin, to see who is all logging in. You might want to just adjust this from everyone below me to entire organization, and you can see your engagement with the strategy across your team. But the main two areas I want to focus on are snapshots and dashboards. Starting with snapshots, these are a very sort of Excel-looking report that gives you a really detailed view of your strategic plan. First of all, you're going to notice on the left here that you'll have favorites, your snapshots that you've created, and then ones that have been shared with you. To favorite something, just click the favorite button. You can also duplicate ones that have been shared with you to make them your own by adjusting them. And you can also share stuff that you've created by clicking this little share icon. It's important to note that you can share it with specific people and make them a co-owner on those various snapshots so that they can then edit it as well. So let's look at one that's already built out here. I'm going to look at the marketing and sales monthly update. When I click it, it's automatically going to start generating it for me. And you can see for this example, I've got 30 goals that are being pulled in by my various filters. And it's just going to take a second to render all the various updates and whatnot. But it's going to give me a nice breakdown of overarchingly how am I doing on my strategy at a glance. And then for my top level objectives and projects and KPIs, who's the owner, start date, due date, all the kind of stuff that I want to see to get a good idea of how I'm doing on my strategy. It's important to note that you can click these various goals and you'll get that little sidebar where you can update them right in real time, and it's going to show up on this snapshot after you make the adjustment. But that's all well and good. Now, how do I build this? I'm not going to go through every single menu here because they're pretty self-explanatory and it just requires a little bit of clicking around. But you'll note that if you go to snapshots and click new snapshot, you'll have 4 main sections, and I'm going to give you an overview of each of these 4. The first is asking you, what type of snapshot do you want to create? Most people create strategy snapshots that are showing one of the plans or multiple plans all in one place, and then broken down by focus area or balanced scorecard or whatever that is. The other major thing you're going to want to know here is how deep do you want to go? If you want to show everything, you can just remove this, but otherwise it's going to say, okay, if you just want to go 1 level deep, you're just going to be showing the objectives, 2 levels, objectives, projects, and KPIs. I can also do these on a personal level, so I can pull everything just for Mary or just myself. Or I can do this based on an organizational unit, such as my risk management team or my IT team. But we're going to stick to a strategy snapshot here. Next, we're going to pick and choose which data we're going to filter out. So default is just going to pull everything. But I could, for example, only pull projects and KPIs. That's going to bring in my objectives, but gray them out since I have all my projects and KPIs aligned to objectives. But I told Cascade not to bring them into this report. I could then go in and remove grayed out goals so it doesn't show my objectives and instead just starts my report with the project and KPIs. But I'm just going to leave this blank. We can pull in a lot of different other filters, but for this one, I'm just going to show everything. Next, we're going to select columns. This is going to give you a little preview down here of what the report looks like right now if I click generate. I've got the name of my goal, my timeline, updates, tasks, completion. But I can scroll up and I can say, okay, we don't need to show tasks. That's going to remove the task column. And maybe I don't actually need to see my current completion because that's going to be represented in my timeline. I can also adjust these columns, can add new columns such as due date here. Maybe I want to show name of the goal, due date, my timeline, and then a monthly update. For this, I'm going to add in these other fields that I built out on my monthly updates, and I'm going to adjust this so that it shows the progress of my timeline. So I have that traditional sort of Gantt chart type view. all of the different fields in Cascade will be available on this. And snapshots are brilliant at showing you a lot of detail around all the various goals you have. The one thing they do not show you are the tracking graph over time, and that's something we're going to use dashboards for. So for this one, the last option is configure options. I can choose if I want to show that legend or summary, which you'll see here in just a second. And this also allows me to determine if I want to sort things or change the font for exporting, which is an option I'll show in just a second. It looks like I didn't click generate. So once you have this report built out, you'll have the ability to generate it. And it's going to bring in all of the various goals with the various fields that I chose. You'll notice that it wasn't allowing me to click generate because I didn't select any plans. That's why I was grayed out. So if it's grayed out, it's because you didn't do something right, which is what I did right there. Now, if I click save, this will allow me to save it as, for example, my snapshot report. And then again, I can share it with my colleagues after I save it, and then they all have access to this as well. Lastly, these are also savable as CSVs or PDFs so that you can easily show these in meetings. Those PDFs are also going to have a nice link directly back into Cascade. So you can click on a goal in the PDF and it will take you to the goal hub, for example, for this expanded to fixed gear market. The other option for tracking your progress in Cascade that's most commonly used are dashboards. Dashboards are definitely one of the most powerful features of Cascade because they allow you to create really nice visualizations that have a lot of the same flexibility as snapshots. So I can bring in a lot of different information such as Gantt charts, overall summaries of my progress, and my nice tracking graph here against my projections. This is an example of a board update dashboard that's using a summary widget, a overall goal widget, focus area widget, risks, and a table. I'll start by showing you again how to navigate through these. You can favorite, have your own dashboards, share dashboards with other people, or collect ones that are shared with you. Very similar to the plan logic or to the snapshot logic, so I won't go through that in depth. Same icons as well. Now, if I want to create a new dashboard, I just click Add Dashboard here. And you're going to see it's going to give you the option of cloning an existing dashboard so that you're starting not from scratch, or I can just create a new one. I'm just going to call this sample. When I click this, you'll see it's going to tell me to click the add button. So I'm going to go over here and click add, and I'm going to add a widget. Now our widget library here consists of about 20 widgets. By the time you see this video, there might be even more. We're adding more all the time. In fact, it's a big initiative in 2021. And these give you the different sort of tables and charts that you're looking for to see how you're doing. I recommend using the table and goal widgets. These are my two favorites, but we have a bunch of others that you can play around with and get a nice feel for how they work. For the table and goal widgets, they both start in the same place by clicking Start Building. So for this one, I'll just click Start Building this goal widget. And it's first going to ask me to name this. I'm just going to call this Sample Goal Widget. And then I can select a specific goal. So I'm going to search for a revenue goal. I know I've got a couple in this instance. I've got my overarching revenue goal here of 65 million. And I just selected that. I don't actually have to do anything else. I can just click Save, and it's going to show me my revenue target. I could adjust this by clicking this little cog and changing things like show the values, which will show me now the values at each data point that I've entered, or I can change the name of this to revenue goal. I can also show this in a couple different ways, but this is the primary way that we're going to show the progress of KPIs within Cascade. Other than just goal widgets, the other most popular one is this table widget here, where I can build out a table to show me a lot of the information that you would have seen in a snapshot, but in a slightly more dynamic way. So I've got a quick start option where I can select some things that I might commonly want to track, like KPIs that are behind. Otherwise, I can build this up from scratch by first going through the select data option. It'll default to showing me all of my goals, but I can cancel that out. Now it's just going to pull in everything. but maybe I just want stuff within maybe one focus area, like this aggressive growth focus area in my main corporate plan. Otherwise, I can choose any other filter here, like plan is or start date is, any of that. And it follows our standard logic for all of our filters. So status is complete. Now it's going to show me everything that's complete within that focus area, which it looks like there's about 5 goals here. So that's the first bit. Second bit, after I select what data I'm going to show, I'm going to choose how it's displayed. Now I can do this here, or I can actually do this directly on the table, which might be a little easier for a lot of people. So I'm actually going to skip that. And then lastly, the settings, I can choose how I group these. Default is just going to list everything, but maybe I want to list it by owner, for example. So it's going to now show me the same information broken down by owner. I'll click save. And if I want to go back and change the title of this, we'll say complete items in aggressive growth focus area. I would go up here to these 3 little bars and change what is showing as these columns. I'm going to, for example, show the template because I think it's important to show these KPIs, projects, etc. And I'm going to move that over here and then maybe adjust how wide this is. It's all very easy to do here and give you exactly what you want to see in conjunction with the other sort of targets and whatnot. Again, snapshots are really good for showing detail-heavy sort of reports, and dashboards are your more visual option for giving you an idea on one page how you're doing across major KPIs and also projects, different things from a more summary type of perspective.